We have finally come to the place in social work where conversations about money and financial health are being normalized as essential to social work practice. And I, for one, couldn't be happier. Now, at the forefront of this cultural transformation within the profession has been Reeta Wolfsohn. Now, since 1997, Reeta has been pioneering in the area of financial social work as one of the few people who was willing to shine a light on the consequences that financial stress, trauma, and blindness have had on so many social workers and our clients. Over the years, her work has been focused on the need for all of us to heal our relationships with our money and with ourselves. And to that end, she's developed a library of resources to empower social workers, non-social workers, and our clients to take more control of our finances, including a certification program and a partner program that rewards you and your referrals when they enroll in financial social work certification course. And I'll just warn you right now, if I sound like a fangirl, it's because I am, and I have been ever since 2013. And after this conversation, I hope you will be too. Reeta's work is at the intersection of gender, financial, economic, and social justice. All things that we social workers really love. And in this abbreviated conversation, you're gonna hear all of those threads woven through. Okay. Ready to meet Reeta and learn how you too can help shape the future with a financial focus? Here we go.
The question is, what's financial social work to begin with? Why is this such a passion for you?
Well, it started out as feminomics. And when I created that word 25 years ago, I gave it the definition of the gender of money. And sadly, a lot of people didn't agree that there was a gender of money. There is a gender of money because women earn less. They're often charged more. They have a lot more financial responsibilities. And they live longer, and the financial being out of the workplace to care for children, to care for aging parents, it's a financial disadvantage that women experience. But of course, women aren't the only ones that have financial problems. And so it became financial social work in the early 2000s. I started with feminomics back in 1997. And I felt really strongly my own lack of knowledge and my desire to know more about money. And it just grew from there. I started teaching myself. And honestly, as I spoke around the state, we didn't have the technology we have now. So it was a slower movement, but one foot in front of the other every day. And I feel really fortunate and blessed because I created it in such a way to make sure that our students and graduates would have the financial knowledge and skills and tools to improve their own financial futures, as well as to role model and counsel and coach clients in those areas. It's really a bit overwhelming when people thank me for doing this. It is kind of overwhelming because I'm doing something I love.
Yeah.
And the reason we're social workers, I don't have to tell you, is because we want to help people and change the world.
Absolutely, change the world. And I think it is so apropos though for you, because that kind of pain and lack of knowing myself is what drove me to learn more as well, and to even find you. When I found you, again, I know you're saying it's a little intimidating or overwhelming, but I think all the praise is deserved because, as I've gone more into this study of money and, things we're not taught, not only as social workers we're not taught, but most of us just aren't taught these fundamental things about money. But then when you do put the social work lens on top of it, at least when I was going to school, and perhaps when you were going to school, there was actually a reverse. So money was really kind of reinforced that it was bad, or you shouldn't have any, or you just don't focus on it. So to have created this institution that says not only are we going to focus on it, but it's necessary, it's needed, it's the thing that fundamentally actually helps us to do our jobs better, was kind of revolutionary, for the social work profession. So I think every accolade is deserved when it comes to, calling you a pioneer, or I should say recognizing you as a pioneer in this area. So just going to take a moment to appreciate Rita here. But thank you for that. And then it's been such a joy for me to be able to connect with you, and hopefully my audience as well will reach out and look into all of the programs that you have to offer through financial social work. So can you talk to us about what some of those are and the impact that you've seen the different programs that you've started have on social workers and on the communities and causes that they work with?
Where to begin?
I know there's so many things.
The most probably common thread and feedback is, I wish I had known this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever years ago. But for me, the heart of my work is about healing the relationship with money and the relationship we each have with ourselves. Because if we don't feel good about ourselves, if we've lost hope, if we don't feel deserving, we're not going to even consider connecting with our money. So we have this huge money disconnect, avoidance of financial circumstances, and then the spiral out of control, and nothing to interrupt it. And nobody likes the B word for budgets.
Oh yeah.
And they're not engaging, and they don't change people's lives. The first thing we have to do is engage clients, because here we are in 2022 and we still don't discuss money. It's always the elephant in the room, regardless of what a presenting problem is, regardless of what's going on in a social work classroom. People have financial problems. There's so much shame. They don't know how to talk about it. They don't know if it's safe to talk about it. They don't want to be judged. And so I spent a lot of time developing original materials that serve that purpose. They're creative and just come to this topic in a much safer, non-judgmental way. We do that. We have quite a few new ebooks to be downloaded on our website at financialsocialwork.com. Our graduates, when they're taking the final exam, they write an essay, and we publish some of those essays. Those can be read on the website. And we have other programs that should and can be of interest when we're thinking and talking about our own financial circumstances and wanting to be able to help clients more.
I actually have a question, because you mentioned something, you alluded to something a minute ago. You said that you created these different products and resources for social workers. And I want to shift the conversation a little bit and talk about entrepreneurship, because that's been kind of the path that Rich Social Worker has gone in. And as I've learned about like wealth creation and asset creation, it's kind of taken me down this path of, the world of online business. And so that's what I encourage social workers to consider as an option for them. But it means showing up and creating things, right? Creating these assets, right? So I'd love to hear a bit about your journey into that. And like you mentioned, when you first got started, we didn't have the tools that we have now. So I'm really curious, what's that journey been like for you?
It wasn't an easy journey. Actually, an again, as an entrepreneur yourself, that it's hard to start a business, any kind of business. And when I started this 25 years ago, social work and entrepreneurship or business, those weren't really connected. No one was really making that connection, but I had owned my own business in New York. I developed a special event company. And before my husband and I moved down to Asheville, North Carolina, and now we're right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. But it was very natural for me. And so it did surprise me that it wasn't embraced more, but it grew over time. And I think the pandemic made a huge difference. And I think that, certainly in these past 2 years, life has changed for all of us and forever. And we can't and don't need to go into all of the details. But we have all these things going on, and none of all of those issues, I certainly am not an expert on all of them, and no one can be. I say a lot that no one needs to know everything about money, but everyone needs to know some things about money. And perhaps what you need to know and what I need to know are different, but we do need to know some of those things. I spend 7 days a week on this, and I don't claim, I try to have a broad knowledge, but this isn't going to get better in the near future.
So what that says to me, though, and again, I'm kind of looking at it through this entrepreneurial lens, is that, I think one of the reasons why you've been able to be successful in terms of like not only pioneering this branch and this sect of social work, but also growing it over time, is because it sounds to me like you truly are like a forecaster. So you really have your kind of finger on the pulse of those underlying events that have the potential, or that actually do impact financial well-being, and you're able to capitalize on them. So you created this webinar before, I'm sure 90% of people did. Then you created the ebook, and as I'm listening to you talk, you're thinking about this in ways that I know a lot of people aren't, because I remember those I wasn't eligible for the those subsidies because I was in Jamaica at the time, which is fine. But I do remember a lot of people saying, oh, talking as if those subsidies, for example, were going to solve everything. And I was thinking, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, if you're using those subsidies to go out and buy something from Walmart or Target and call yourself stimulating the economy, you're just digging a deeper hole. Like if you don't know, like you were saying, about investing or about, growing your money in some way. At least that's where my mind went. But I know that had I not been educating myself over these few years, I wouldn't have known, just like you said, what you need to know and what I need to know might be different, but we all need to know a little bit of something. So I think that's so profound. And the other thing that I noticed as you talk, your focus, even when I asked you about talking about yourself as an entrepreneur in this journey, your focus always goes back to clients. What is that that keeps you so passionate or focused on what people need to know when they're clientele, as opposed to you and your journey? Because again, I'm fascinated with your journey, and you are this consummate social worker. That's what I hear.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong that we raise these generations of financially illiterate men and women.
And let me interrupt you, because again, in my research, I know you had hosted something about finance and social justice. And it sounds, that's what I'm hearing from you. Like, this is a social justice issue for you. Is that accurate?
Social and economic justice for sure. And gender and social and economic justice. Because what's good for the economy is rarely good for the consumer. You know, I came to social work later in life, and I do feel I am a born social worker, and I do love being a social worker. I love what we do and how we do it, and our ethics and the psychosocial component, behavioral component. I just think there's such a perfect mix for financial social work.
So for my typical viewer is they've probably been in social work at least a few years. Either they're doing a search online to know how to make more money and they come across Rich Social Worker, or maybe they're just trying to, maybe they were recommended the channel, right? I've heard some institutions use some material in their classes, which is great. What would you say to the social workers watching who are just trying to get a handle and trying to know, what to do, where to start? What would you say to them to actually give them some stepping stones? They're convinced now that something needs to be done. What should they do?
For themselves, they should continue to learn everything they can about money. They absolutely need to pay attention to their student loans. They are never going away. Your credit score, your credit score, your credit score. Not only does it determine whether or not you can get a loan, what rate that loan would be at, it also determines whether or not there are some professions you cannot work in if you have a poor credit score. It's really, we are profiled in that way. Part of it even involves where you live, your zip code, and how your neighbors spend their money. But there are certain basics that you should know and keep in mind. And one of them is how you pay your bills. The most important piece is paying your bills on time. Pay attention to your spending triggers. Learn, we have so much of this free content online in the recorded webinars and that. And then a lot of that entrepreneurial piece that you're addressing and what we're suggesting to your viewers, we recently started what we call a partner program, because so many of our students and graduates love the work and refer their colleagues to us. We now offer those who refer a $50 referral fee, and the person they refer to also receives a $50 discount.
And the partner program is for certification as a financial social worker. Is that it? Okay.
And you don't have to be a social worker to become certified. You can become a certified financial social work counselor or coach.
Oh.
We had to figure that out because so many not-for-profit agencies love the work, but don't have social workers on staff. We have organizations and agencies that certify all of their staff.
And the certification what is it? CFSW? Is that what it?
Right.
Okay.
And that includes a digital certificate that people use on their resumes and in their signatures. And we've been told for a very long time that it does get resumes looked at.
Excellent. Okay, Rita, any final words for our viewers?
If you're a social worker, please invite financial health and wellness into if you're an instructor, invite it, talk about it in your classes, invite it into your agencies, certainly into your client work. We need to speak money. Social workers speaking money. People need a safe, non-judgmental space provided for them. Be willing to talk about it. And then if you don't have the answers, you can find them. They're out there. For our students and graduates, we have a financial social work professional network on Facebook, and we have a monthly Zoom meeting on the third Thursday of every month, and we do a training or a case study. So we really try to support everyone in doing something to help people with their financial health and wellness. Eva, I'll just finish by saying that from day one, I knew this was not about financial education, financial literacy, or any of the other terms, financial capability and financial health and wellness. I see that as part of the very essence of social work. Is what we do is health and wellness. I believe I've read that social workers provide around 70% of all therapy and counseling in this country. We need to talk about money.
I feel like we're getting there, and it's because of people like you. So thank you so much. Viewers, make sure you follow Rita, follow Financial Social Work, and look into that certification. Highly, highly recommend it, not just for your clients, but for yourself. All right, guys, as always, I believe you can dream, be, do, or have anything you want, but it starts with your mindset. So make sure to reach one.